In this module, we will introduce you to the two remaining VQA wine producing regions in Ontario, Lake Erie North Shore and Prince Edward County. The Lake Erie North Shore region has been producing wines for over a century, and as you will recall from Ontario's wine history earlier in this course, is home to Ontario's first commercial winery, Vin Villa, which was located on Pelee Island. This warm and dry southerly region is also home to thriving tomato, corn, and other cash crops, and used to be quite famous for its production of fine tobacco. Many of the drying kilns can still be seen dotted throughout wine country. Prince Edward County, on the other hand, is the northernmost VQA region in Ontario. It has its own unique set of challenges, but also has an extremely rare and special terroir, and the committed wine growers of the region have worked very hard over the years to bring the best of PEC to the wine consumers of Ontario and beyond. As you can see from this map from VQA Ontario, Niagara Peninsula is the centralmost region lying directly between the two Great Lakes of Erie and Ontario. If we travel to the south and west, running along the north shore of Lake Erie, we encounter Lake Erie North Shore, or Lens, sometimes referred in marketing terms as EPIC, or Essex Pelee Island Coast. Look closely and you will see a small green island just off the mainland. This is Pelee Island, and is a unique wine-growing culture all of its own. It is the largest island in the South Island subappellation of Lake Erie North Shore. To the north and east of Niagara is Prince Edward County, a relatively small wine region surrounded by Lake Ontario's waters on three sides and the Bay of Quinte to the north. The soils of this region are rich with limestone, and this combined with the moderate temperatures ensures this is a region suited for exceptionally delicate and yet complex cool climate whites and reds. Here we can see the westernmost part of Lake Erie North Shore, plus just the northern tip of Pelee Island. The Detroit River flows to the west, and Lake St. Clair is to the north. Vineyards and wineries are located mostly on or near the shoreline of Lake Erie. The long peninsula that juts out into the lake is Point Pelee Provincial Park. It does not produce grapes, however it is home to a huge variety of bird species and is a very popular tourist spot as a result, especially during the migrating season. Many wineries in the region use birds on labels or in other marketing in order to pay tribute to their famous feathered friends. Without the birds, business would not be quite as robust. At a latitude of north 42 degrees north of the equator, the Lake Erie North Shore appellation extends along the shoreline of Lake Erie from Amherstburg to south of St. Thomas and includes Pelee Island and several other small islands which make up the subappellation of South Islands. Generally flat with some gentle south-facing slopes and benefits from proximity to the lake. This lake effect does help in spring and fall, however winter kill can still be an issue as temperatures can drop well below zero. This is probably the single biggest issue facing this region. The fact that Lake Erie is so shallow means the waters warm quickly during the summer, and this warm water can speed up ripening and lengthen the growing season. The region specializes in fuller-bodied red wines from Cabernet and Merlot, but there are also much success with white varieties such as Chardonnay, Pinot Gris, and Riesling. Of the 15-plus wineries in the area, some of the more noteworthy ones are Viewpoint, Oxley Estate, Collio, Pelee Island, North 42, Mushedre, and Sprucewood Shores. The region enjoys a significant amount of heat with an average of 1,540 growing degree days throughout the growing season. This combined with the length of the growing season makes this region one of the hottest in Canada and provides more than adequate conditions for ripening a broad range of varieties. Harvest often starts as early as August and is typically wrapped up by the end of October, although some late harvest wines will be picked in November and beyond. Rain can be an issue during the season if it falls at the wrong time, and humidity can also lead to mildew and rot, so growers must be vigilant at all times. The soils in the region are quite varied, but are dominated by light, fine sandy loam and clay soils. In certain specific sites, gravel and stones dominate the all soils lay on top of bedrock of shale and limestone. This map shows you just how varied the soils are, with each different color indicating a slightly different type. At one time, Pelee Island had its own VQA designation, but was rolled into the greater Lens designation several years ago. The island is a very unique and special place, almost subtropical in parts during the summer months, and it offers visitors diverse varieties of flora and fauna found nowhere else in Canada. Deep Dundee limestone bedrock nears the surface of the north end of the island. Clay and loam soils are deepest near the center and south, and the vast majority of vines are planted here, as it is very difficult for vines' roots to pierce the hard bedrock when it's so close to the surface. Here we can see the oft photographed famous lighthouse that sits at the northern end of the island. Moving to the north and east, we enter Prince Edward County, or PEC as it's often referred. It is roughly 2.5 hours drive from both Ottawa and Toronto, and slightly further to Montreal. Surrounded by the waters of Lake Ontario and the Bay of Quinte, this is truly a lake-affected wine region. High rocky bluffs dominate the eastern shores, while flat sandy beaches dominate the west. With its varying elevations, rarely exceeding 140 feet, distinctive Trenton limestone-infused soils, and pronounced airflows off the lake, PEC certainly is a region of great diversity of terroir. The youngest of the VQA regions in Ontario, Prince Edward County, was granted VQA status in 2007. It is located at 44 degrees north and provides vines with a long temperate growing season, ideal for quality Chardonnay and Pinot Noir. Recently, several international journalists have applauded the incredibly high quality of the top wines from this tiny wine-producing region, some even stating that Prince Edward County is one of the world's bright new wine regions to keep an eye on. Of the 30 wineries located in Prince Edward County, some worth noting are Norman Hardy, Huff Estates, Rose Hall Run, and Light Hall. Prince Edward County is famous for its local farming community, laid-back way of life, and support for all things local. Small inns and restaurants dot the landscape, making this an ideal destination for those looking for a quiet summer escape. The region enjoys more than adequate growing degree days at 1,366 on average, and median summer temperatures around 20 degrees Celsius make this region ideal for early ripening varieties. However, humidity and heavy rains can be a problem, so it is important to be aware of vintage quality when you buy wines from Prince Edward County. Having said that, this is true of any wine region in Ontario. The single biggest issue facing Prince Edward County wineries is that of its very cold winter temperatures. It is common to have bud damage many years, or all-out vine death in the coldest winters, where temperatures can plunge below minus 24 degrees Celsius and remain there for extended periods of time. As a result, extreme measures such as hilling up and even burying the vines must be undertaken to protect the tender plants from Mother Nature's wrath. In the spring, sensitive plants can be damaged by spring frost. Portable wind machines, such as the one we see in this image, are one means to ensure warm rising and cold sinking air is mixed to raise the overall temperature around the plants, thus preventing frost from ever really becoming established or at least damaging. Soils are arguably the single most important aspect of the unique terroir of Prince Edward County, and one of the main reasons major investment has begun in this small wine region. Limestone and related soil types are universally considered the most important soil types for the production of high quality Chardonnay and Pinot Noir. As a solid bedrock, it's impossible to penetrate. However, when broken into smaller rocks and mixed with clays and loams, as we see in these pictures, it is in the famous vineyards of Burgundy and France where it becomes truly useful for high quality wines. The same can be said of the vineyards of Prince Edward County. As you can see in these two images, some soils are made up mostly with loamy sand and clays mixed with small percentages of limestone, and others are dominated by broken, fragmented limestone. If you combine these extraordinary soils with a long temperate growing season, the potential for very high quality wines is very high.